Nigel is an actor who you'll have seen in many TV shows. They include Peaky Blinders, Doctors, The Inbetweeners, and of course, as DCI Ian Buckles in the enormously popular Line of Duty. He's also a huge Aston Villa fan. So, Nigel, welcome to the All Villa, No Filler podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So, we'll talk about your acting career in a bit, but first, let's talk Villa. You were at the West Ham game. What did you make of it?
It was, I think we can do better, but we're a work in progress. I think there's lots of scope for improvement, but we're doing better than we have been. I think we'd lost that game a few months ago. I think you'll probably agree with that. Some of it's not pretty, but some of it is. And there's always, like, I'm forever an optimist, and there's always positives to take away from every game, I think. So some little bright moments, but it was pretty stagnant for long spells, I thought.
Yeah, it was exactly as you say. I think it was the kind of game that a couple of months ago, or even in recent years, you'd have just been like, Villa are going to lose this. And, we've lost, I think, 5 in a row to West Ham. So to finally end that hoodoo was quite nice. So it seems like Unai Emery, we managed to beat Man United at home, we win in our third kit, and we don't lose to West Ham. So that's a pretty good start. You're a regular attendee at Villa games, and so what have you made of Unai Emery so far?
Well, it's we've got a proper statistician or tactician, I should say. What he does, I have heard he does look at stats a lot and tries to work on that. I mean, you probably know that by his possession approach to the games. And he's probably thinking that the more possession we have, the more likely we are to get a result from the game. But I think there's going to be lots of good stuff to come from him. It's great to have a proven trophy winner in our corner, and I think there's going to be good times for Villa. It's just, as I say, we're a work in progress. I think it's going to be a huge summer for the players in both senses. I think some people will be leaving, and I think we're going to get some big players in. I think, and yeah, I think things are going well. I think I can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to consolidate it at the moment. We're playing very narrow, so we're difficult to beat. It does leave us slightly vulnerable in terms of width, as we could see with Alex Moreno. He had a bit of a torrid time against Jared Bowen.
Yeah, it was tough, wasn't it?
It was tough, but you could see what was happening. Everyone was playing very narrow, and Moreno was isolated. I thought maybe we could have got the ball out to him quicker, but I'm not sure that's part of the game plan, because as soon as you do that, you're under pressure again. You're inviting the pressure. Whereas I could see what they were doing. They were passing it about, gradually moving forward, and Tyrone Mings would pick out a suitable pass, I thought, and then that was us on the attack, and we could get behind them. And I thought I could see what the game plan was, and it seems to work. It's just difficult to get motivated and to get the crowd going when it's such a slow build up.
It does feel a bit like the Villa Park crowd, particularly at home. We have to kind of get a bit more used to it. I think you can sometimes hear it in the audience. It's a bit, get it forward quicker, but
and it's not good for the players, really. But I mean, how do you stop that? You can tell. I was talking to one of the players actually on Monday night. I was at an event, and he said, I was like, what's all this playing out the back for? And he said, well, look, it's part of the game plan. We want to get forward, but we want to maintain possession as well. And I said, but the crowd don't seem to be on board with that. He said, I know, we can hear it, which is why we often play better away from home. But everyone's paid their money. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, I guess. But it's not good, because it does bring a negative vibe, doesn't it? And I think, like you say, once everyone understands what's going on and just get behind them, I think it's also a case of when we get a few more players that are more comfortable on the ball and better at taking a man on one-on-one, and I think things will gradually improve. But it takes time. It takes time to embed this way of playing in, and I think we just got to be patient.
Yeah, completely. I compare it. I went to the 2 Crystal Palace games this year. So we went to Selhurst Park earlier under Steven Gerrard, and we lost 3-1. And then I went to the 1-0 win at Villa Park. And in both games, the contrast was, Villa were much more patient at Villa Park on the ball under Unai Emery, whereas before against Crystal Palace, like when we lost 3-1. My God, I thought we were in a relegation fight at that point because we were so poor. So it does show, that how much Emery's improved the team, and the style of play now is working. I mean, the results are there, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, I mean the results speak for themselves, don't they? It's not pretty to watch at this moment, but I'm sure it will be at some point. And you
Yeah.
talk to Arsenal fans, and they get it. It's that possession and not losing the ball, which isn't that exciting
Mm.
initially to watch. But then if you're getting results and like I say, when you bring more quality players in around everyone, so everyone's comfortable on the ball, and you start playing really really good football, I think it'll work.
Yeah, I think when we think about the squad and where it could potentially improve, and where Villa might actually go big on the transfer fees. I mean, Guendouzi, somebody that it seems to be a bit of a link that won't go away.
Yeah,
But is there anywhere in the squad that you think Villa could improve, or where you'd like to see us spend a bit of money to get a bit better?
yeah, absolutely. I think our wingers are under pressure to perform at the moment.
Hmm.
It's not happening for Leon Bailey. I'm sure there's a brilliant player in there at some point, and he's our biggest threat in terms of speed at the moment. So if we can just get him taking a man on and getting the crosses in, which he does sometimes, it's just the consistency. So I guess if we can get him playing consistent, and we also need backup for him as well, don't we? I
Yeah,
also think we need another striker. I mean, Duran's not proven really. I
yeah,
mean, it's two. I wouldn't call them clear cut chances, but he needs to be finishing them off. I mean, as does Ollie Watkins. He missed a great the ball straight at the keeper for that second chance he had. But I mean, you can't take anything away from Ollie Watkins. I think he's absolutely
no,
superb, and his work rate and everything about him, I think he's good. If he could just get some more goals, I mean, he's doing well with goals at the moment. So let's judge him at the end of the season. But his one-on-ones with the keeper are sometimes a little bit questionable. If you can get him playing more consistently, but look at his movement for the goal. I thought it was
yeah,
superb. Brilliant ball in from Alex Moreno. Superb cross that was. And if you watch Ollie, he just ghosts in. He makes his run and then ghosts in behind the defender and hits it into the ground. So the keeper's got no chance.
mm,
But I think we need goals from all over the pitch.
yeah,
And we need, if it were me, I'd be saying to Tyrone and Konzo, like getting up for them corners. I need you to be working on finishing, and all the good teams that have won championships and stuff, that they all get goals from all over the pitch. It's never always up to the strikers or the midfielders. It's all over the pitch. Um, but yeah, in terms of players, I think we need some backup for Kamara, because like he seems like he's been the missing link for us at the moment. I
yeah.
mean,
God,
he's just a
so good.
superb asset, brilliant, and allows Dougie and John McGinn to get forward more. So back
Mm.
up for him, I think. It depends what's going to happen with Ashley Young. I love having him in the squad. I thought he was great, that clearance he made, or that tackle he put in when he came on.
Mm.
But his days, he can't play forever. It can't all be left to Matty Cash, so we probably need backup for him. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, we need to just strengthen a bit in midfield, and we need another goal scorer. But how can you play? You can't play everyone. Everyone's going to be knocking on the doors looking for game time, and you've just got to maybe become a rotating squad and give everyone a chance, I guess.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing that rotation at the moment in Moreno and Luca Dean. It feels like
Yeah,
both of them seem to interchange who starts, and both of them only play sort of 60 minutes. And I wonder if Emery would like to have that in more positions on the pitch. And
yeah,
some players just get used to that sort of a thing. But you mentioned Ollie Watkins, 6 goals in 7.
yeah,
As far as I can tell, I think his all-round improvement, his hold at play, not just his goal scoring, his
yeah.
hold at play, it feels like it's so
Superb,
much
isn't
better
it?
under Emery.
Superb. I always thought he was good at his hold up play, because he does run those channels. So you'd get
Yeah.
exposed really if you weren't good at it. So I thought he was always good at that. But I think you're right. Yes, he has improved, and I know he's been working on his finishing as well.
Hmm.
So it's no coincidence that he's scored. He's gone on this run of scoring, and like I say, on yesterday he took his goal superbly. We just need to see him really to take in the rest of the chances. But when you look at Tammy Abraham, when he have like 50 chances and score 25, he but he was, he'd always get a goal, but he had a lot of chances as well, didn't he? So, if we can get him popping a few more in, I think we'd be in a great position if we can hold on to him. I think.
Yeah, and England call up. Do you reckon that's far away for him now? Or
I hope so. If he can continue this run of games, I think he's in a good spot.
yeah,
And I hope we can hold on to Emi Martinez as well. I mean, he's rapidly becoming another favourite of mine.
Yeah,
I think he's a couple of saves. Like every game, he seems to keep us in the game in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
He just stands up and does his thing.
You're right about Martinez. In the World Cup final, in the penalty shootout, obviously with the antics. Obviously, I was supporting Argentina because I was like, "Well, Emi Martinez, Spanish Argentina."
Yeah.
And when he made the saves, I went ballistic. But obviously, the rest of the pub really wanted him not to win.
Of course.
Everyone's just started silence. So I'm there, like running around the pub as if I'm from Buenos Aires myself. I agree with you. There's just something about Martinez which he has a kind of. I know it winds people up sometimes, but when a player like that plays for your team, you can't not love him, really.
No, he's great, and his banter with the opposing fans and everything is just really good. Was it Cornet that was offside and he had the 1-on-1 and he just stood up calm as you like. God knows where the lino was at that point, and that's an issue. I think we should talk about. The linos flagging up really late. I think there's been a few pundits that are highlighting this now, and I think it's dangerous on the players. If someone's put in a last ditch tackle and stuff, and if you watch the replay, the linesman, he was nowhere near the line. He was way back.
Yeah.
But I mean, Emi Martinez standing up under that pressure. I think, and he just made the save. I think he's really good. I think he's great.
He's great, and with Unai Emery and the improvement we've seen, and considering the fact that this is a manager who's won 4 Europa League trophies, was in a Champions League final very recently with Villarreal, where do you realistically think or hope that Villa can get under him within the next year or two?
Well, I think we're pretty much safe now, aren't we? We've consolidated our place. We can't seem to get out of that 11th spot, no matter what we do. Even if we'd have won yesterday, we wouldn't have gone to 10th. Yeah. So top half finish, definitely the aim for now. We're in no way, shape, or form ready for Europe, and I think it's unrealistic to just expect that anyway. But I would be expecting to make Europe by the end of next season. I think that should be the target. And if we're going to keep good players and attract good players, I think that needs to be the aim, really.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like the momentum we're in at the moment. We're sort of quietly doing it. I wouldn't say like the whole sort of media kind of punditry is too fully aware of it yet, but it sort of feels a little bit like Newcastle this time last year. And, there was a bit of positive momentum building there, good manager, good coaching, some good investment. And then, a year later, they're pushing for Europe. So you kind of hope that we probably have the ingredients to finally make not just get into the top half of the Premier League again after more than a decade, but maybe even get towards Europe itself, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're dead right, and I think if you look at Newcastle, I mean they did things the right way. Let's get everyone playing, get a couple of players in to strengthen the squad, build from the back. Let's identify a way of playing and make us difficult to beat, and then start attracting players in. That way, do you know what I mean? Show that you can do it without spending billions initially, and just become a good team that's difficult to beat.
Yeah,
it's a results business, isn't it? So if you're getting results, you want people to come to Villa Park, right? These guys they're going to be difficult to beat. How are we going to do this? That's what you want before you start getting big players in. But I think it's a good comparison. I think we'll spend a few bob in the summer. You'd hope.
Yeah.
And then with players going out, you'd hope that the net spend isn't massive, but we'll have some real quality in the squad and real competition for places.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it does kind of feel a little bit like Villa Park's been a bit of I wouldn't say an easy touch, but a place that opposition teams don't mind coming to. There's a few of them who've had good records there in recent years, so you want Villa Park to become that place that they're like, oh, don't fancy going there, you know.
Absolutely, it needs to be intimidating, rough, raw. It needs to be a tough place to go for an opposing team.
Yeah.
And no doubt we are like that sometimes. We can be that. So I think, get the crowd behind the players, get everyone consolidated. Like I say, some more players in the summer, and I think we could be going places.
God, it's an exciting time considering the horrible decade we just had, you know, when Lerner left and all that stuff. So it's just nice to have this kind of level of positivity again amongst the Villa fan base. But I will ask you a couple of more Villa questions in a moment. But you know, you're a very successful actor. You know, what are you up to at the moment in your career?
Well, we've just finished shooting on a drama for ITV called Three Little Birds. It's written by and starring Lenny Henry.
Nice.
It's set in the 50s about three Jamaican girls that come over to England for a better life, based on a lot of Windrush kind of stories that his mum used to tell him when he was little, growing up. And he thought it was very important to tell, and it is very important. And they were met with a lot of intimidation when they came over, and no blacks, no dogs, no Irish, all those kind of vibes, which resonate really highly with me, with my parents being Irish and they were immigrants coming over in the 50s. So I heard those stories as well. My dad used to tell me he was looking for digs, and in the papers, in the Evening Mail, it used to say no blacks, no dogs, no Irish, and so it's a very real truths in there. And it's a great script. When I was asked to do it, I read all the scripts, and it's a 6-part drama, and I'm in 4 of them.
Brilliant.
I play a factory foreman, and I give them all a job, and it's how they settle in and integrate into the community when they first get there. They drink in a pub where there's only black people, and there's lots of terminology like you people and you lot, keep to yourselves, see yourselves, and all this kind of stuff. And they settle into the community and integrate, and it's a lovely story actually, and it's a great part, a great thing to be a part of. I don't think it's out till the end of or towards the autumn actually. I think September. I was hoping it would get sooner there, but we didn't get it finished in time to get an earlier slot. So I think it's going to be out in September on ITV. Three Little Birds. It's cool.
Brilliant. Yeah. That sounds great. And Lenny Henry been a local Midland legend as well. Really, what was it like to work with him?
Oh, he's amazing. Really funny. Always cracking jokes as you'd expect. Just a really, really lovely energy to be around. Lots of stories, lots of anecdotes. He's been in the business for quite some time, and being local lad as well. We had lots in common. And we could exchange stories about areas in Birmingham. Like we shot the whole thing in the Midlands as well, parts of Dudley and Birmingham and West Bromwich, and places that I know really well and that I used to knock about in. So yeah, he was great. Honestly, he was really, really good guy. And yeah, really talented to write something like that. There's also Russell T Davis is exec producing on it. Don't know if you know, he produced, wrote on Doctor Who and Sin and stuff like that. Huge deal, lovely chap as well. So, and the cast and the crew were all amazing. It's like they got a really, really good team together, and it's great to work on something like that because every time everyone's like a really big deal at what they do in their separate departments, and they're also really lovely as well. So it just makes it a real pleasure to be part of.
That sounds a show that I absolutely will be checking out. I'm very excited to hearing about that because I wasn't aware before this. So I'm really, really excited to see that. But obviously, you're currently best known for playing Ian Buckles in Line of Duty. Yeah. What was it like to be part of something that, some people will be watching this who maybe are from outside of the UK, but Line of Duty at the time was an absolute phenomenon when it was out. And so what was it like to be part of something that was just such a cultural event, really?
Well, it was amazing, but I auditioned for that back in 2010. Wow. So that was the first, that was the first series. Well, 2010 to 2011, and the first series was filmed in Birmingham in the opposite the library in the old Lloyd's Bank. They built a station inside there from scratch. So when I first got the script, I thought it was you get scripts and you look at them and you get asked to audition and stuff. And sometimes the scripts are better than others. Sometimes, and you get used to. You read that many that you learn to know what you like, and you learn to get what's good and what's not so good. And when I read this one, I was blown away by it. I think the first scene grabbed me.
Right. Wow.
When Arnott's in that bus stop, and they think the suicide bomber, and they get the number of the house wrong, and it turns out to be a dad wearing a baby Bjorn with a baby on it. It's I just thought it was amazing, and the part that I was reading for Buckles, the lines just seemed to run off the tongue, and it was just, you just sometimes know that this is one that you're right for, because sometimes you get asked to audition for parts that you think, well, I'm not 100% right for that, and I'm sure there's a better person that could do this, but I'll tape anyway, and I'll give it my all. So I said to my wife, I said, "Come on, have a look at this. This is wicked." And she was like, "Oh my God, you got to get this, haven't you?" So yeah, we got it, and then there was series 2. I got the part. I went up to Birmingham and auditioned for it, and I got and then they wanted to see me again, so I auditioned again, and they really liked me, and which was great. And then season 2 came along, and I wasn't involved, so I was gutted. I thought, that's it. And then season 3. When they had that big storyline with the caddy and the big shootout. And I thought, okay, that's it. And then out of the blue, they got me back in series 4. And then there was series 5. So I thought I was done again. But then, got availability checked for series 6. And it's just become this snowball rolling phenomenon that is everyone knew about. I mean, I think it was 17.5 million viewers for the last episode, which is
mind blown, isn't it?
Absolutely mind blown. I was thinking the other day, now I wonder what the total is from people that have, including those, and now people that have come late to the party. It must be well over 20 million people that have watched it. But like I say, that was another amazing thing to be part of. One of the best scripts I've ever worked on, and something that I'm immensely proud of. It was high level, high quality TV. That
I was just thinking with actors, when you see that great script, it must be so rare that you come across something that great, I'd imagine. But you also managed to get, well, there were Aston Villa references in Line of Duty, Clarenboo suits, Holton Holdings. How did that all come about?
So the writer Jed is Tamworth, but he'd be a loose Villa fan. He wouldn't be as crazy as us, but he'd loosely support Villa, and those were little treats that you get. So the costume, I got on really well with the costume department, and when we were getting, you get fitted for your costumes and stuff, and they say, "How about this?" And I'd be like, "Oh, what about that claret shirt there?" And "Oh, I've got a tie there. What about that tie?" And they go, "Yeah." Not making the connection, but I'm making all the connections. And what else was there? There was all sorts of stuff, actually. There was little Villa references in there in the script, and then there was the Holton Holdings thing.
Yeah.
So when Jed had wrote that, I contacted him. I said, "Mate," and he said, "Oh, did you like that? Did you?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely brilliant." So yeah, it was lovely, really. And of course, Vicky's a Notts County fan, so there were some Notts County references in there for her.
Right.
And I mean, you'd have to be really eagle-eyed to notice this, but Jed's not only a screenwriter; he's written novels and children's books and stuff. He's had an amazing life. He was a medic in the RAF, I think. He was a pilot, and then he worked in. He was a medic in a hospital. He's an immensely clever man, and has done a variety of work in his career. But in season 1, he I don't know if you remember Lenny James's character. He's reading a story to his children before they go to sleep, and it's one of Jed's books. Children's books. And there's lots of stuff like that in. Obviously, we were filming during lockdown, so we all had to wear masks. So I had the latest Villa mask, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good fun and great to get little personal things like that in.
Yeah, I was making the case that no villainous policeman would ever support Aston Villa, because all Aston Villa fans are totally morally upstanding, well-behaving members of the
We're all
public.
villains.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Well, Nigel, just it's great to hear about your acting career and how well it's going and how well it's already gone as well. But just a couple more questions on Villa just before we go. In the midweek, so I'd like to ask a couple of these sorts of questions. So, just on a slightly different tack. I always like to know about how did you end up? You're a huge Aston Villa fan, but how did you end up supporting the Villa in the first place?
Well, that's simple. I'm the youngest of 6 children. Parents, not really a footballing family, but my 2 brothers were actually Birmingham City supporters.
Right.
And I guess it's from my parents ran pubs, so we used to move around the city. Not too often, but sometimes my dad would take over a new pub and stuff. So I was born in Moseley, grew up in first Quinton, and then we moved to Bartley Green, which are both arguably quite blue nose territories. I would have thought quite mixed. But I would put South Birmingham to a heavy sway to Birmingham, City. And then my dad took over an Irish club in Perry Bar. It's not there anymore. It's called St. Teresa's. Big hub for the Irish community. And that was by, I don't know if you know, the island at the bottom of Wellington Road, top of Aston Lane. It's by the one-stop shopping centre by the university. So we were literally a stone's throw from, a mile from Villa Park. And I was only 8, 9 at the time, and a lot of kids were all Villa and that. So I started going down, and one of my dad's friends, his daughter used to work in the ticket office, and so it was easy to purchase tickets, and he started treating me, and we would go down. This is my dad's friend, and I started going down on my own with some friends and stuff, and getting down the whole early doors, get your plot up, get your program, smoking, maybe trying to get a few beers underage and stuff. I don't know if you remember back in them days, you used to get down to the Holt for like 1:30, so you get the place in the left side where you wanted to be, and it was great. I just loved it, and I've seen some amazing days down there, and some heroes like Paul McGrath and Dwight York, and all through the 90s. I was watching Villa, and went to Wembley, see us win the Coca-Cola Cup. Under Ron Atkinson, Big Ron, his famous speech in front of the Holt as well. I lost my certificate actually, which was the last before it went all seating, and we all got a certificate on the way in.
Oh, right.
So that was the very last game in the terraces, and Big Ron came out and did a big speech, and it was amazing. So that's how I became a Villa fan. Then went to uni, then drama school, and moved to London. And so I've been in London 20 years now, 21 years. But luckily, I'd maintained my season ticket, so I've always kept hold of my season ticket in the Holt. And I'd be on the train coming up, and I met lots of London Villa lads. You could hear the accents, and so now some of them are my closest friends, and we all travel up together, travel to away games together. Like yesterday at West Ham, we're all together, and it's just a wonderful thing. I think there's a lot of Villa scattered around the country. I mean, you can see by all the supporters clubs, we're a massive club that are worldwide. And long may it continue. Let's. Can't remember when the work's due to start on the new stand. Is it after next season? Is it?
I want to say 24. I wanted to say. I think
it might be, but I think when that happens, and I think the next few years are going to be so exciting for Villa. It's going to be such a good time to be a Villa fan.
Yeah,
and let's hope we just achieve and not underachieve like we have done in the past, and just get some silverware and get some recognition as the biggest club in the Midlands, which we are.
Yeah, I think you're right about the fan base as well. It being as global as it is. That's what I found through his podcast. I just can't believe the places people listen to it and
it's huge, and
get
we
in
need
touch. It's
to.
mad.
I think we need to capitalise on that. We really need to push the boat out and get really global, move into
Yeah.
China, Asia, and I think there's absolutely no coincidence that bringing players in from those kind of territories and like using it and marketing it, and we need to be like a more of a business like that.
Mm.
And I think say what you want about Christian Perslow, but I think that's what he wants, and that's his
Yeah.
vision with the owners. And I think it's a good way to be. It's a good strategy for going forward.
Yeah, and what? Just two more. Like you talked a few nice memories there, including one that was my favorite memory, going to the Coca-Cola Cup final
Yeah,
'94, beating United
94.
3-1. Do you have a favorite memory at all?
Of a trophy or just a game or
Supporting the Villa, I guess, at any kind of point.
all the Blues games.
Right. Yeah.
Tried to get the 5-1. Was great. God, yeah. Jack Grealish scoring the winner after getting clapped by one of the fans.
Just
It's just special. And feeling that away. Um, you know, I've got friends that they'll say they'll never go to St Andrews again, but I just loved it, and because the stakes are so high,
yeah.
things can go wrong in a derby. Anything can happen in a derby, but we just played. The last few years we've just mullered them. I think Gary Cale's overhead kick in
Yeah.
front of the Holt. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite goals.
It was just
John
out of
McGinn.
nowhere as well, wasn't it? It was like,
Oh yeah.
Kale.
Well, he actually played as a striker as a youth. Did you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, he was actually a forward in his early career. So he didn't mind getting forward, and he could hit them. I think John McGinn's volley was at Sheffield United against Sheffield United, where
Sheffield Wednesday, yeah,
Sheffield
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Sorry,
Yeah.
the keeper cleared or someone cleared the ball, and he's just volleyed it, and it's hit the underside of the post. So many memories. I've been to Wembley so many times as well as it almost felt like a second home at one point.
Yeah,
But I think the best one, the one that sticks in my mind, is beating Liverpool 2-1
yeah.
in the cup. That was just brilliant to do that and see Jack in his pump for Villa. But yeah, I guess the Coca-Cola Cup, that was quite special. I was really young then. I was only about 13, 14, I think,
Yeah.
15 maybe, when I went to that. But we just need some silverware. It's been so long now. It's been ridiculously long since we've won anything. And
Yeah.
it was such a disappointment to go out to Stevenage
Yeah.
in the manner that we did. It was almost unforgivable. And I think, and here's the thing, when you said strengthening positions, we desperately need another keeper. Because I don't think Olsen is good enough for that number two.
Yeah.
Keeper role, and we've got to be careful, because if we do lose Martinez, then who we're going to get to replace him, who's going to be available. Because I actually got berated in the pub the other day for saying I think Martinez is the best in the world. Some guy said he's not even in the top 10.
Oh, he is. He is.
He bloody is. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, okay, but yeah, we need to strengthen in that department, because if you look at all teams, if you start from the back, I think it's so shrewd to do that. Get your keeper right, then get your centre halves right and your fullbacks, and then build. Get be hard to score against before you can before you can think about getting as many goals as you can. I think build from the back, and we really need to think about what we're going to do with that keeper situation. I don't know what Jed Steers is. He injured, or is he something?
Yeah, I find that a bit mysterious as well, that he never really seems to feature.
Yeah,
Cool,
I don't know. And I also don't know why we've got two keepers on the bench.
Yeah.
But I think he answered that question in an article saying, well, they use three keepers in the warm-up, so thinks he's got enough, for the outfield players. But yeah, I mean, sometimes if you look at our bench, it doesn't scream positivity, does it? So
no.
Yeah, I think a new keeper, and I think, like I say, I think it's going to be a huge summer. I think it really will be.
And hopefully we've got many more great players to come this summer. Come join Villa and give us many memories. But as a final question, do you have a favourite all-time player from all the years of supporting Aston Villa?
Paul McGrath.
Yes.
Paul McGrath.
McGrath,
Yeah, he
yeah.
was Villa. He was Irish. Centre half. That was my position. I've never put myself in the same bracket, but it just and there's not enough. There's not enough done for him. Like no one's put together there should be a DVD of Paul McGrath's greatest ever tackles and
Yeah.
Greatest ever back heels and stuff like that. But Jack Grealish was rapidly becoming my next best my next favourite player. It was just sad to see him go, but I've no doubt he'll be back at some point. But like Paul McGrath is just something special, I think.
Yeah, I've
What
got
about yours?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. I'm the same as you, actually. I'm Irish family, and so in the early '90s, when Villa had a very heavy Irish contingent, Ray Houghton and
Steve
Paul
Staunton.
McGrath, Stevie Staunton, a couple more, I think. And for me, Paul McGrath growing up was just, again, I went to a school that was very heavily Irish influenced, and so we were all just like, we love Paul McGrath because he's not only is he Irish Villa, but also he's such an amazing football player, and I think in a way almost a little bit ahead of his time. He was an absolutely fantastic player. But I think for me, as I was sort of getting older, it was probably Dwight York. And I think York left in '99 when I was about 12. And I remember I was so devastated. My mum had to take me to go get a Happy Meal from McDonald's. and I remember it was about 10 years later, I don't know, when I was a bit older, and then obviously I had my first relationship breakup. And I was like, what is this sad feeling? I was like, this is what it felt like when Dwight York left. So that was my first experience of what a breakup probably felt like. But yeah, I had to have a Happy Meal there.
Is that your remedy now? When anything negative or adverse happens, you get a Happy Meal.
Yeah, it happens a lot when Villa lose. So
you
yeah,
do need to pick yourself up a lot after Villa, but Paul McGrath, I think he was just something special. I mean, there's been a lot. Emi Martinez is high up there.
He's my current one. I think
amazing, and there's been some great players that have come through our club, really good players, and I want us to become a club that holds on to people like this. I know you can only do it for so long if you're not playing, top level football. But there's got to come a point where we put a stop to that. And I think, under Unai Emery, I think he's the chap to do that. We can hold on to him. I'd love to see Unai Emery here for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
I'd love him to be another Arsene Wenger, and I think he will be. I think he's different level, that guy. I think he's going to be good.
Totally. I think we've been starved of managers of that quality for a long time at Villa. So he just has an aura. It's great to see.
It came out of the blue. It totally came out of the blue.
Yeah, same.
I was like, wow, oh my God. I'm actually being seriously linked with Unai Emery, and then he got the job. I was like, wow, this is, and when Gerrard got the job, I've got to be honest, I didn't think he was ready for it. I was like, he's not proven in the Premiership. I know what he's done at Rangers, and that's great. But out of the list of candidates, the possible candidates, he was my favourite. But even then, it was the best of a bad bunch, or an unqualified bunch, I think, for where we want to be. Yeah. So to get someone like Unai Emery, and I think he's like they've worked miracles there, I think.
Yeah, as you say, I was stunned when I saw him turn up, and in a good way.
Maybe I'm doing the club a disservice. Why wouldn't you want to come to Villa? Why wouldn't you want to come and manage such a club with a beautiful ground and such a great history and stuff, and make it a project?
And all the potential as well.
All the potential, yeah, exactly. There's money there to be spent. There's players there. We're nearly there. We're getting there. So, it's why wouldn't you want to come?
Yeah, and Nigel, before we go, where can people find you online if they want to follow you and get your thoughts on Villa and what you're doing in your career?
I'm on Twitter, Villa Boise. It's my nickname was Boise growing up. So yeah, Villa Boise, or Nigel Boyle Official on Instagram. I'm not great at social media, but my manager's trying to get me to get better at it. So yeah, I'm debating doing TikTok as well, but I'm not 100% there yet. So I don't really understand it yet, but I'm sure maybe I'll get some help. But yeah, Villa Boise on Twitter, or Nigel Boyle Official on Insta.
Well, it's great to have you on, Nigel, and up the Villa.
Cheers, yeah, cheers, mate. Up the Villa. Take care.